Hello and welcome to Buildings of Tomorrow. My name is John Lester, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about fire safety, the different regulations that are in the industry and how things are starting to change within this industry and what we see having an impact on that fire safety situation and the technologies that come with it. I'm joined today by Carsten Liesener. He is the head of the Solutions and Service Division of Siemens Smart Infrastructure in Europe. Carsten, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, welcome.
So we're talking here about fire safety and specifically around regulations and what we see changing or what we see in the future. Let's start at the very start. Fire safety historically and in general is a relatively strongly regulated industry. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. I mean, first of all, it's still highly regulated, and it was also, I mean, talking now about Europe, for example, it was also kind of a very good entry barrier for other players, especially from China and from the Americas to move into this market, into this European market. But what you really can see, and it's a little different country by country, but you see kind of a big deregulation movement in the different countries.
So we're seeing within different countries in the European area a move towards simplifying or lowering some of those regulatory challenges to make it a little easier for people within the industry to go about their daily business.
Yeah, exactly. And very much, I mean, the kind of the biggest group which is stepping in are facility managers, because they're usually doing kind of facility management for different disciplines, and they're also now trying to at least get kind of the more easy services, and in this market, it's also, I mean, like in every market, you usually follow the profit pools where they are in the market, and in fire safety, it's definitely also in service, like in other industries, like the elevator business or others, and this is then very much where all the competition is going into, and especially the facility managers are really trying to move up the ladder, so to say, to also play a role in this kind of space, and also trying to influence the regulation bodies. It's also in the fire safety. It's coming very much also out of the residential market. So we see also more and more spillover from kind of deregulation you have already in the residential market, also into the professional or commercial market. So really something to watch. But again, it's really very specific country by country. In some countries still, the company which is installing the system is also then always responsible for the service afterwards. In some other countries, this is more kind of an open service chose for the customers. So very, very different country by country, but something really to watch going forward.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a massive change within the industry, moving from really strong and controlled regulatory approach to finding a different balance. Different service suppliers, different providers with perhaps a different skill set. And you mentioned there a move from the approach taken within the residential industry, moving closer into the commercial industry, where obviously there's a huge difference often in the technology which is applied within those different industries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then overall, it's also that when I mean, the deregulation is usually kind of a good thing, because then it's kind of a market condition where you can much more apply also in innovation. Because when you look at it, the situation today, also this highly regulated market of fire safety was also not really fostering innovation speed, I would say. So when you look at it today, I would say we have even kind of technology available, but we cannot apply it because it's still kind of regulated. And to give you an example, also taking now the current COVID-19 crisis, I mean, we are, for example, not allowed today in France to hook up with the panels, with the fire safety panels, to do remote monitoring, remote commissioning, remote testing, because it's forbidden by regulation. And now in this COVID-19 crisis, even now the regulation bodies and approval bodies in France are all start to think about that it's maybe a good thing to allow remote service and remote monitoring, because in this crisis times you cannot send service technicians on site. Mm. So you see that very much that that it's sometimes also a little bit blocking kind of innovation and technology we already have. So again, something to watch, because these changes are not overnight, take really some time, and we are also participating in all these approval bodies and regulation committees to really also drive it a little bit forward and to make it a little bit more modern, I would say, than in the past.
Yeah, and I think that as you mentioned, it's something to watch, because these changes are ongoing and probably consistently ongoing, and they're when we're talking about something so essential as fire safety, we're talking about life and death within our industry. It is something that needs to take a little bit of time, I can imagine, because you have to find that perfect balance between bringing flexibility, opening up space for innovation, enabling different ways to service, to commission, to maintain systems, while at the same time ensuring that the quality, the skills, and the certification, etc., is maintained to a level which ensures that safety.
Mm-hmm. True. I mean, on the other hand, I mean, it's also I think it has to be kind of a balance of when you do, for example, detector testing. I mean, it's from a technology point of view, you could actually automate the whole thing. I mean, you can have kind of a self-testing detector. I mean, giving the message about the soiling level in the detector into the panel, and you can actually make use of this data, and then you can actually optimize also how many times you have to send somebody on site to make a kind of a visual test. And really the detector testing. So I think it will be a balance. It will also take some time, but I mean, also with this spillover from the residential market, there will definitely changes happening going forward, and that kind of more technology and innovation will find a place in the fire safety market.
Definitely. And I think that's also really important to note that, just because there may be a relaxation of some of these regulations can make space for innovations which can actually improve safety, exactly as you describe. Having this automated and remote testing of the soiling level of a detector can improve the overall safety of a system. And so while it may be a slight relaxation to the approach, it can actually deliver better servicing, better maintenance, and ultimately better safety for the people protected by these systems. You mentioned that one use case there, being able to remotely detect the soiling level as an example. Do you have quickly, I'll put you on the spot, do you have quickly another use case? You mentioned before a bit of remote servicing, remote commissioning. Is there another quick example you could give us of what we'd be able to achieve with being able to apply some of these more innovative products or innovative approaches to a fire safety system?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with really IoT functionality in a detector, and then you can actually create different use cases. For example, and this is also kind of our bread and butter business, because we know it so well, a combination of fire safety and building automation. So there you can also make use of the different data sources, so to say, to really bring kind of the disciplines better together. Or what we also discussed in the other episode a little bit, you can also make use of the information for then the evacuation or response plan. So you can also have a link to the security discipline. So it's not so much, I would say, what the detector itself can tell you. With the data it has, this is more the implication, or you have then in kind of better service you can do, or more efficient and more effective service you can do. It's more that you can actually then work on cross-discipline use cases, as I said, regarding security, in connection with security, or in connection with building automation.
Yeah, that's always a really great point, because in this era of smart buildings, when we talk about smart buildings, we talk about connectivity and not just collecting data from different sources, but leveraging and combining that data to bring insights. I think that's a really important thing, because if there's any system in a building that has a sensor, a detector in every room, if there's any system that has to be in every space within a building or within a construction area of some description, it's fire safety. Fire safety is everywhere.
Yeah, and maybe another point, when you look really at fire safety as such, you also, when you bring more this kind of IoT functionality in, you can also come up with completely different business models, really fire safety as a service, so to say, where you then say, okay, dear customer, this is actually the fire safety as a service per square meter I offer to you, with all kind of the guarantees for always a state-of-the-art equipment and technology, and also kind of a perfect and efficient service we can offer. So it also opens the space in making use of the data to really go into other business models, which are better for the industry as such.
And also, I can imagine if you start to apply these kinds of technologies, we see in other operational technologies, if you have connected devices, if you have devices which can be easier to deploy, specifically in places like Europe, where we have a huge proportion of our buildings pre-existing, and some are quite old. That means that we can actually go through and retrofit or bring the technology within these buildings up to a modern state without as much effort as perhaps it would take with a more traditional system.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because I mean, when you look, for example, into Europe, I mean, most of Europe is built already, so it's very much a brownfield approach we have here. But it is very much to go back to the installed base and really adapt to the latest and greatest technology. So it's really something where we can really help kind of the industry, and definitely also our customers with the latest and greatest technology and also service. And new kind of business models we can discuss and bring to the different purposes of we can even tailor it to the purpose of the building. So we are very, very flexible in adapting it to really what we have to protect.
Great. Carsten, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, welcome, John.
And thank you also to all of those listening. Please feel free to comment, like, and share this episode. Subscribe to us here on the channel where you're listening to us right now. And always feel free to find us, get in touch, and let us know of any other interesting topics you would like us to cover on Buildings of Tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you soon.
Bye.